day everyone, I am Jenny Marayan and today I will discuss about the important law that protect the rights and welfare of children. So PD 603. Simula pa lang nung first important, di ba narinig na natin mo about sa PD 603, which is known as the Child and Youth Welfare Code. So this law guys was created to make sure na yung mga bata ay lumaki ng ligtas, protektado at may guidance ng pamilya. So itong law na to, madami siyang article hanggang 230, pero ayun, i-discuss lang natin yung mga important na article dito sa batas na to. Hindi lang dito sa law ko, hindi lang parents yung may responsibility na magpalaki ng bata, kundi kasama din yung government and the society. So, dito sa Article 1, Declaration of Policy. Sabi dito na the child is one of the most important assets of the nation. Every effort should be exerted to promote his welfare and enhance his opportunity for a useful and happy life. So, dito, it highlights how important the child in our society. Diba kasi, balang araw, yung mga child na yan, maaaring sila yung mag-angat sa bansa natin. Sabi nga ni Rizal na ang kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan. Diba? So yung mga child, very important sila sa ating nation. It's a reminder that every child should be protected and given proper education for them to have the bright future. Kasi paano naman sila magiging pag-asa ng bayan kung wala silang proper education. Next is the child is not a mere creature of the state, hence his individual traits and aptitudes should be cultivated to the utmost insofar as they do not conflict with the law. So this phrase says that every children is not just someone who belongs to the government, kundi meron silang mga kanya-kanyang individual traits na kailangan nila i-improve. So as parents, kailangan na ihayaan natin yung mga bata na mas lalo nilang i-enhance o mas lalo nilang i-develop yung mga talents and skills nila. Pabigyan natin sila ng karayaan as long as hindi naman makakaharm yan sa society natin. So next, the molding of the character of the child starts at home. And consequently, every member of a family should strive to make a home a wholesome and harmonious place at its atmosphere condition will greatly influence the child development. So dito, sinasabi na yung character ng isang bata ay namumuld una sa bahay. Bago sa school, church, or kaya sa society, yung mga pag-uugali ng mga bata na tututunan nila una yan sa kanilang bahay. Pansin nyo yung mga bata na dun sa pamilya na, galing sa pamilya na laging may away, laging nagmumura, expect natin na yung ugali din ng bata ay ma-a-adapt na yun. Pero kapag yung isang family ay full of love, support, and discipline, kung ano yung ugali na meron doon sa family, yun yung ma-adapt na in the future. Next. Attachment to home and strong family ties should be encouraged, but not to the extent of making up the home isolated and exclusive and not conserving the rest of the community and the country. So, having a strong connection to our family is important. Pero, wag naman natin i-focus lang doon sa family. Kundi, kailangan din natin na magkaroon ng connection sa community. Kailangan din ma-involve sa mga activities sa community. And as parents, kailangan din natin sabihan. Kailangan parang tayo yung unang mag-motivate sa mga bata na kailangan nilang makatulong sa activity ng community as long as hindi naman nila ipapakahamag yun. So next, the natural rights and duty of parents in the rearing of the child is for civic efficiency. Efficiency should receive the aid and support of the government. So dito, sinasabi na yung parents mayroong rights, natural rights na disiplinahan yung mga anak nila na magbigay ng magturo ng magandang asal. Pero, sinasabi din na kailangan ng parents ng support na galing sa government. So, ano yung pwedeng i-support ng government sa parents? For providing good education. Next, other institutions like school, the church, the guild, and the community in general should assist the home and the state in the endeavor to prepare the child for the responsibilities of adulthood. So, hindi lang parents and government ang may responsibilities na magpalaki ng bata, kundi meron din yung whole society. So, ano yung sa school, pwede doon matutulungan nila yung bata na mabigyan sila ng proper education. Sa church naman, pwedeng matulungan niya yung bata na i-mold yung spiritual values ng bata. And then, itong guilds na dito guys, ito yung organization. So, dito sa organization, matutulungan nila yung bata na mas lalo nilang ma-enhance yung talents nila or yung mga talents ng mga bata and skills para maging productive members sila sa society. And then next, ito, Article 3, Rights of the Child. All children shall be entitled to the right herein set forth without distinction of legitimacy or illegitimacy of sex, social status, religion, political antecedents, and other factors. So dito sa first paragraph, every child is endowed with the dignity and worth of human being from the moment of his conception, as generally accepted in medical parlance, and has therefore the right to be born. So from the moment na yung bata nag-exist in their mother's womb, meron na siyang rights na ipanganak ng maayos. Every child deserves to be given proper care even before birth. So, kapag diba yung meron kasi yung iba na alam na nga nilang buntis sila, pero gumagawa pa din siya, nag-issue pa din sila, ganyan, minom ng alak, or kumakain pa din sila ng mga unhealthy foods, which is, wag dapat ganun kasi ano yun sa health ng bata. Next, every child has the right to a wholesome family life that will provide him with love, care, and understanding, guidance and counseling, and moral and material security. The dependent or abandoned child should be provided with the nearest substitute for a home. So every child has the right to grow up in a loving and supportive family, but not all children have their family to give care for them. So, yung iba dito, sinasabi na yung iba na halimbawa yung mga batang na-abandon na ng magulang nila or yung mga iniwan na ng mga magulang nila ay yung government ang mag-provide sa kanila or maghahanap ng panibagong parents nung bata para ma-feel nila yung love and support na kailangan nila. So, sa third paragraph, every child has the right to a well-rounded development of his personality and that he may become a happy, useful, and active member of society. So dito, children should not just grow up, but they should grow well. na mas lalong mai-enhance pa yung mga individual na talent sila, mga skills nila para maging productive members sila ng society. And sinasabi dito na the gifted child shall be given opportunity and encouragement to develop his special talents. Halimbawa, yung bata, meron siyang talent na kumanta. So, hayaan natin siya na sumali sa mga contest para mas maboost yung confidence niya. And at the same time, mas lalo din ma-enhance yung talent pa yan. Huwag natin silang pigilan. Huwag natin silang pigilan. Kundi, kailangan natin silang mas lalong i-motivate. Next, the emotionally disturbed or social maladjusted child shall be treated with sympathy and understanding and shall be entitled to treatment and competent care. So dito, halimbawa, yung isang bata nag-struggle siya ng emotional struggle, like depression, anxiety, gano'n. Huwag natin silang tawanan or huwag natin silang i-judge. Instead, i-comfort na lang natin sila kasi pag lalo natin silang i-judge, baka mas lalong lumala pa yung emotional struggles nila. Next, number 4, ay meron ko pala. The physical and mentally handicapped child shall be given the treatment, education, and care required by his particular condition. This means that every child, regardless of their condition, should treat well. They deserve the right care and education to live a full and meaningful life. Next, every child has the right to be a balanced diet, adequate clothing, sufficient shelter, proper medical attention, and all the basic physical requirements of a healthy and vigorous life. So yung balanced diet, guys, ito yung kailangan nila ng nutritious food like mga gulay, prutas, ganun. Kailangan na i-provide ng mga magulang yun sa kanila. Adequate clothing. Ayun, mga sufficient shelter, proper medical attention, and all the basic physical requirements. So, kailangan i-provide ito lahat ng magulang nila. Next, every child has the right to be brought up in an atmosphere of morality and rectitude for the enrichment and the strengthening of his character. Means na dapat yung isang bata ay magmalaki siya sa mabuting pamilya or mabuting community. Diba? Para, kasi kapag pinalit sila sa mabuting community, mas magiging mabuting tao din sila sa lipunan. Next. Every child has the right to an education commensurate with his ability and to the development of his skill for the improvement of his capacity for service to himself and to his fellow men. So, di ba, hindi naman lahat ng estudyante ay para-pareho ng kakayahan. Yung iba, fast learner, yung iba, slow learner. Pero, sinasabi dito na the education should be suited to the ability of the children. Next, every child has the right to full opportunities for safe and wholesome recreation and activities, individual as well as social, for the wholesome use of leisure arts. So, dito guys, play and recreation is not just for fun. Kundi, dun sa recreation na yun, dun sa recreation na yun, dun mas mabibuild ng bata yung skills nila. And, dun din mabibuild ng isang bata na magkaroon pa ng mga friendship. Kaya, hayaan natin yung mga bata na maki-involve sa community. Next, every child has the right to protection against exploitation improper influence, hazard, and other condition or circumstances prejudicial is physical, mental, emotional, social, and moral development. So dito, every child should grow up to a healthy environment. Ilayo natin yung mga bata sa mga activities na maaari nilang ikapahamak. Or even sa mga bad influence sa kanila, kailangan natin ilayo yung mga bata doon. Kasi, maaaring, pag na-expose sila doon, maaaring masisira lang din yung buhay nila. Or maaaring nilang ikapahamak yun. Next, every child has a right to live in a community and society that can offer him an environment free from pernicious influence and conducive to the promotion of his health and cultivation of his desirable traits and attributes. So dito, kung maayos yung kinabibilangan ng child, ng bata, na environment, mas malaki yung chance na mas magiging mabuting tao din siya in the future and magkakaroon siya ng magandang kinabukasan. Next, number 10, every child has the right to care, assistance, and protection of the state, particularly when his parents or guardian fail or unable to provide his fundamental needs for growth, development, and improvement. So dito, yung mga abandoned, neglected, and dependent child, na wala nang nagsusustento sa kanila, na wala nang nagsusustentong magulang sa kanila, yung government dito yung may responsibilidad na i-provide yung pangangailangan nila. So, hindi porket mahirap yung isang pamilya, ay kailangan na din mag-suffer ng mga bata. Then number 11, every child has a right to an efficient and honest government that will deepen his faith in democracy and inspire him with the morality of the constituted authorities both in their public and private lives. So dito, sinasabi dito na, for example, yung bata, pag nakikita niya, di ba yung mga, pag nakikita niya na fear yung mga government, pag walang corruption, ganyan, lalaki siya na mayroong tiwala dun sa government. Maniniwala siya sa fairness and democracy. Pero naman, kapag nakikita niya na magulo, nagkaaway-away yung about sa government, syempre, paano ko ngayon magsitiwala yung mga bata sa kanila? And last, every child has a right to grow up in a free individual in an atmosphere of peace, understanding, tolerance, and universal brotherhood, and with the determination to contribute his share in the building of a better world. So dito kailangan lang ng respect sa bawat isa. Even kapag magkakaiba ng religion, ganyan, syempre, expect natin na magkakaiba din tayo ng paniniwala. So kailangan lang ng respeto para magkaroon ng peace sa lahat. Ayun. Next article, sa Article 8, Child's Welfare Paramount. So, sinasabi lang dito sa Child's Welfare Paramount na kapag nag-decision ka, always consider kung ano yung mas nakakabuti para dun sa bata. Kapag meron kang decision, kailangan mo munang isipin kung yung decision mo ba na yun ay makakabuti or ikakasama ng bata. So, always consider lang kung ano yung nakaka-best, kung ano yung mas the best para sa bata. Dito naman sa Article 7, enjoy parental authority. So, sinasabi dito na ang parents and na ang mother and father ay meron silang equal na responsibility sa pag-aalaga ng kanilang mga anak. Pero, if yung isa naman nag-disagree dun sa kasunduan nila na yun, yung decision ng father, yun yung masusunod. For example, yung mother gusto niya sa private mag-aral yung anak nila, and then yung mother naman gusto niya sa public. So, since hindi sila magkasundo, yung desisyon ng father na sa public nilang mag-aral yung anak nila, yun yung masusunod. Pero, kung dito naman guys, pero kung yung desisyon naman ng tatay ay alam nung ay makaka-harm dun sa bata, pwedeng sabihin yun dun sa court para matanggalan ng rights yung father na masunod dito. So dito guys, pag sa case na namatay yung isa sa magulang, halimbawa yung tatay mo namatay, kung sino yung surviving na parents mo, yun yung may responsibilities na magpalaki sa'yo. For example, namatay yung tatay mo. So, dun ka ngayon, yung nanay mo ngayon, yung mayroong responsibility na magpalaki sa'yo. Pero, kapag naman nagpakasal ulit yung nanay mo, and then, parang hindi na kayang i-provide yung care na basta hindi kanya kayang alagaan, pwedeng yung government yung maghahanap ng panibagong guardian. Tapos in case naman sa separation, kapag naghiwalay naman yung mother and father mo, kapag yung bata ay below 5 years old, doon siya pupunta sa mother niya. Kasi yung bata, kailangan nila ng support ng magulang nila sa ganung edad. Pero, kung hindi naman pero kahit below 5 years old yung bata, kung yung mother niya naman hindi siya kayang alagaan, yung government ay yung court yung magbibigay ng authority dun sa father na siya na lang yung mag-alaga. Next article naman, sa Article 58, yung torts. So, dito sa torts, ang torts guys ay yung wrongful act that cause harm to others. So, kapag, halimbawa, nakagawa ng kasalanan yung bata, yung parents niya yung mag-oobliga na magbayad dun sa nagawa niyang kasalanan. For example, yung bata nabasag niya yung salamin ng bintana ng kapitbahay nila, since hindi pa naman siya responsible sa action niya, yung parents niya ngayon yung magbabayad dun sa damage na nagawa ng bata. Ayan lang yung ibig sabihin dito sa Article 58 ng court. Sa Article 59 naman is, ito yung mga crimes ng mga parents ng bata na meron silang criminal liability. So first dito is conceals and abandons a child with intent to make such child lose his civil status. Next, abandon the child under such circumstances as to deprive him to love, care, and protection he needs. Next, sells or abandon the child to another person for valuable consideration. So dito, kapag halimbawa yung anak mo, binenta mo sa iba, magkakaroon ka ng criminal liability. Next, neglect the child by not giving him the education which the family station in life and financial conditions permit. For halimbawa naman, yung magulang, meron siyang kakayahan na paaralin yung anak niya pero hindi niya pinag-aral. Meron siyang criminal liability doon. Next, fails to refuse without justifiable grounds to enroll the child as required by Article 7. So, yung Article 7 dito guys is the assistance. Sinasabi dito na kapag walang kakayahan yung parents na pag-aralin yung bata ay kailangan nilang cooperate sa government para yung government ang magbigay ng tulong dun sa mga bata. Ayan. Next, causes, abates, or permits the truancy of the child from the school where he is enrolled. Truancy, as her use, means absence without cause for more than 20 days, not necessarily consecutive. Dito, magkakaroon din ng criminal liability yung isang magulang kapag pinayagan niya yung anak niyang mag-absent ng 20 days nang walang reason. Next, it shall be the duty of the teacher in charge to report to the parents and the absence of the child the moment this exceeds 5 school days. Next, improperly exploit the child by using him directly or indirectly, such as for purposes of begging and other acts which are inimical to his interest and welfare. Next, inflict cruel and unusual punishment upon the child or deliberately subject him to indignation and other excessive chastisement that embarrass or humiliate him. So, hindi masama na disiplinahin yung bata, pero meron lang limit. Huwag naman yung sobrang halos ikamatay na nila gano'n yung mga punishment. Huwag naman gano'n. And meron din proper place para disiplinahan yung bata. Hindi yung din-display mo siya sa public. Next, causes or encourages the child to lead an immoral or dissolute life. And then next, permits the child to possess, handle, or carry a deadly weapon regardless of its ownership. So dito, wag natin pahawakin yung mga anak, yung mga bata ng deadly weapon. Hindi yung, for example, papasok yung school mo, papapaunin mo ng kutsilyo para kapag may umaway sa kanya, sasaksakin niya. So, hindi ganon. Hindi dapat natin silang pine-permit na maghawak ng mga deadly weapon. Allow or requires the child to drive without a license or with a license, which the parents know to have been illegally procured if the motor vehicle driven by the child belongs to the parent. It shall be presumed that he permitted or ordered the child to drive. So, hindi din dapat na bigyan ng permit yung mga bata na mag-drive. Lalo na yung mga minor. Huwag muna dapat silang bigyan ng permit na mag-drive ng vehicles. So, yung parents na sinasabi dito ay hindi lang yung nagluwal dun sa mga bata, kundi yung mga guardian na merong may custody dun sa bata. Next article is a definition of terms. So, dito, yung dependent child is one who is without a parent, guardian, or custodian, or one whose parent, guardian, or other custodian for good cause desire to be relieved or his care and custody, and is dependent upon the public or support. For example, ito ay yung mga nasa orphan. Yung mga bata na wala na silang pamilya, kaya umaasa na lang sila dun sa suporta na nanggagaling sa government. Yun yung dependent. And then, abandoned naman. The abandoned child is one who has no proper parental care and guardianship, or whose parents or guardian have deserted him for a period of at least 6 continuous months. For halimbawa, dito, yung halimbawa ng abandoned child, for example, yung bata, iniwan yung nanay sa kapitbahay niya, pero hindi na binalikan yun within 6 months. Walang communication and walang support na natatanggap yung bata doon sa magulang niya, I consider yun as abandoned. Next naman is neglected. A neglected child is one whose basic needs have been deliberately unattended or inadequately attended. So dito naman, if yung mga basic needs ng mga bata hindi mo ma-provide, yun tinatawag na neglected. So, yung neglected can be committed in two different ways, yung physical and emotional. So, dito sa physical, for example, yung mga bata nagiging malnourished na sila kasi hindi na provide yung mga foods, shelter na kailangan nila. And yung mga clothes nila, parang example nito is yung mga polluted na wala silang shelter, wala silang proper clothing, mga eye-clad yung mga madudumi na yung mga clothings nila, kanya uling-uling sila, ay yung physical. And emotional naman, emotional neglected, ito yung nagkakos dun sa mga batang nare-rape, nasa-seduce, ayun. Ayun. Nagkakaroon sila ng emotional na emotional neglect. So, itong emotional neglect ay nagkakos sa kanila ng trauma. Nagkakos sa kanila ng trauma. Next naman, dito sa commitment. A commitment may be done in the following manner: involuntary commitment and voluntary commitment. So, ano pinagkaiba nitong dalawa? Dito sa involuntary commitment, ito, yung law, yung magtatanggal ng karapatan ng parents doon sa mga bata. For example ng involuntary commitment ay yung mga neglected, abandoned, and dependent child. So, yung government yung magtatanggal ng rights ng parents nila sa kanila. Voluntary commitment naman, ito yung sa voluntary commitment naman, yung mismong parents yung magsusurrender nung natural rights nila sa government. For example, sinusurrender nila yung mga anak nila sa government dahil sa kahirapan. Or maybe na sinusurrender nila yung anak nila sa ibang tao kasi mas naniniwala sila na mas gaganda yung future ng anak nila. Ayun, yung pinagkaiba, yun lang ang pinagkaiba ng dalawa. And then next, Article 42, petition for involuntary commitment of a child. Venue. So dito, sa article na ito, ina-explain niya yung legal process of taking custody to a child who's independent, abandoned, and neglected when the parents or guardian are unable to care for them. So, dito, yung maaaring mag-file ng involuntary commitment ay yung DSWD or any licensed child agency. So, magpa-file sila ng petition, and then yung petition na yun, ipoprove nila na yung bata ay dependent, abandoned, or neglected. And then, kapag napatunayan nila yun, napatunayan ng court yun, yung mga bata na yun ay ipupunta nila sa mga licensed child placement agency, or ibibigay ng government sila dun sa mga pamilya, sa mga magulang na handang ibigay yung love and care na kailangan ng bata. Next is Article 149, the commitment of child. Dito, sa commitment of child, once na napatunayan, gaya lang din siya nitong Article 142 na once napatunayan nung court na yung bata ay dependent, abandoned, or neglected, hahanapan siya ng government ng panibagong guardian na mag-aalaga sa kanya. And then last is Article 154, voluntary commitment of a child to an institution. Dito naman sa article na to, yung voluntary kanina, di ba, yung ibibigay mo yung rights mo sa government. So dito, inaalaw ng law na to na isurrender yung bata sa government kapag hindi nila kayang alagaan yung bata, kapag hindi nila kayang i-provide yung needs ng bata. So, yung mga possible na mga nito ay yung mga lack of financial na hindi kaya sustentuhan ng bata. Ayun, which is okay naman siya sa batas na to kesa naman sa hayaan mo lang yung bata na itapon mo kung saan-saan. Iwan mo dyan sa gilid. Instead na gawin mo yun, isurrender mo na lang siya sa government para yung government yung maghahanap ng panibagong guardian na kayang sustentuhan yung bata. Ayun, so, ayan lang about dito sa PD 603 and I hope na meron kayong natutunan. Okay, any question? Group 5? Okay, Barry.
According to PD 603, who has the primary responsibility for the welfare of the child?
So, according dito sa PD 603, ang may primary na may responsible sa pagpapalaki ng bata ay yung parents sila. Kailangan na yung parents yung merong yung may responsibility na mag-provide yung pangangailangan ng bata, yung support na kailangan ng bata. Pero, in case nga na gaya nung dito, sa voluntary commitment, in case na yung parents hindi kayang sustentuhan yung bata o hindi kayang ibigay yung mga needs ng bata, yung government yung mag-provide nun para dun sa mga bata.